Wilderness State Park on our first show about the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. I can't wait, and I hope you guys can't wait. To this show, we go to views, waterfalls, all kinds of stuff tonight on Exploring the Mittens. Porcupine Mountains Wilderness State Park. We're starting off with the Lake of the Clouds Overlook scenic area located towards the middle of the Porcupine Mountains State Park. Lake of the Clouds is a lake located in Ontonagon County in the Upper Peninsula of the state of Michigan, within the Porcupine Mountains Wilderness State Park. The lake is situated in a valley between two ridges in the Porcupine Mountains, surrounded by virgin wilderness and stunning vistas. The lake is a popular destination for hikers, campers, and fishermen. The lake is a prominent feature of the park and can be viewed at the Lake of the Clouds Overlook at the west terminus of former Michigan Highway M107. The state park occasionally hosts a nighttime sky watch at the lake. The lake is fed from the east end by the Carp River inlet, and the outflow from the western end is the Carp River, which empties into Lake Superior on the boundary between Ontonagon and the Gogobeck County. The Lake of the Clouds the surface area is 133 acres. The surface elevation is 1,076 feet. All I can tell you is the Porcupine Mountains Lake of the Clouds Overlook is one of the most beautiful spots in the state of Michigan. Take a little hike in the Porcupine Mountains Wilderness State Park. The Overlook Trail is located about 3 miles south of the Lake of the Clouds Overlook. The Overlook Trailhead is located at the Government's Peak Trailhead. You take Government's Peak Trailhead about 0.07 miles, then you hit the Overlook Trail Loop. The Overlook Trail Loop is a very nice trail, but is pretty rough terrain with roots and rocks, so you do take caution and follow the signs. But they do have pretty good signs. The trail is marked well with little blue marker and arrows. The trail also has a ski trail and hiking trail. The ski trail is open in the winter. Like I said, the trail is pretty rough with roots, rocks, and boulders on the way. And it is pretty steep and down slopes and up hills. But I'll tell you one thing, the hike is well worth the views, because the views on the top are really, really neat. Here are some of the views from the top of the Overlook Trail Loop. The views from the top are just really very beautiful. Looking down the slopes, little rivers, and looking at Lake Superior with all the trees including birch, pine, maple, oaks, and old growth forest. But when you get to the second spot is even neater. With the bench you sit down, you can just sit there forever and ever and watch the very neat views. Boy, we had a good time at the Overlook Trail. Now we're headed to the Summit Peak Scenic Area. The The Summit Peak Scenic Area is located in the Porcupine Mountains Wilderness State Park. There is a Summit Peak Tower Trail that is a half a mile to get to the tower. The trail is pretty soft and ain't too bad with not really no roots or anything. If you do get tired up the hill, you can take a break, or if you just want to sit down and watch the wildlife, you can. The top of the Summit Peak Tower is about 50 feet high, so if you are afraid, there is another viewing area. The views from the top of Summit Peak are amazing. You can see Lake Superior and all the old growth forests with the trees, birch, pines, maple, oaks. It is just a nice, calm, and soothing views from the top of the Summit Peak Tower. Me and the guys could just sit there for hours, just watching the very beautiful views. There is a little map on top of the Summit Peak Scenic Area that has a little legend on the sides that tells you where you're at and how far the distance are to Wisconsin, the smokestack towers nearby, and other beautiful things. The elevation on top of the Summit Peak Tower is 1,958 feet high, which makes it the highest point in the park that is accessible to get to. The highest point in the park is Government's Peak, located about 6 to 12 miles inside the park, depending on which route you take. Now we're off to see my most favorite thing the Porcupine Mountains Wilderness State Park has is the waterfalls. This is my favorite part of this episode. Let's start with Manabezzo Falls in the Porcupine Mountains. Like many of Upper Peninsula's Michigan's natural features, the waterfalls of the Presque Isle River have found many names in the language of the native people. The largest falls rightfully take their name from the powerful Ojibwa spirit god Manabezzo. The porcupine was known to the Ojibwa as a Kag, the Porcupine Mountains Kagwajawa. Now to Manitou Falls. Manitou Falls is the falls just south of Manabezzo Falls, which aren't quite as big, but they still have the same beauty. Manitou Falls is located down about a half a mile trail right underneath this suspension bridge. The capacity is 65 people. Now to the smallest waterfall of the three, but the most peaceful and quietest of the three, Overlooked Falls. There is a half a mile trail down to Overlook Falls, which you park on top of the hill and you walk down to look at this over this little deck. Underneath the deck is Overlooked Falls. It has a little creek running through the park. Overlooked Falls is about a 10-foot tall waterfall. It is very neat. It does have a swift little current that runs through it. Here are some of the pictures of Overlooked Falls now. I could just sit here for hours and watch this beautiful little waterfall located in the Porcupine Mountains Wilderness State Park. We camped when we were at the park. We camped at the Presque Isle campground located at the way bottom south end of the park. We also went swimming at the park in the beautiful but cold water of Lake Superior, of these very beautiful shorelines of Lake Superior. When we were there, we got to see a very beautiful sunset at the Presque Isle campground. Look at this beautiful sunset with all the blue, red, and yellow, and orange colors. Wow, peaceful and beautiful. That's all I can say about the Porcupine Mountains Wilderness State Park. Now it's time for the Exploring the Mittens trivia question for tonight. Tonight's Exploring the Mittens trivia question is, what is Michigan's state wildflower? Is it A, the bearberry? Is it B, the dwarf lake iris? Or is it C, the red clover? The answer for the Exploring the Mittens trivia question is the dwarf lake iris, located in northern Michigan. I thank everybody for watching this week's episode of Exploring the Mittens. Catch another episode next week on Exploring the Mittens. Thank you, everybody.